Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you. With the due remembrance and respect to our founder president, respected Dr. Punjab Rao alias Bhav Sahib Deshmukh, we have gathered here in the presence of Honorable Dean Dr. A.T. Deshmukh Sir, all the faculty members, non-teaching staff, and my fellow students. I, Payal Choldia from 22 batch, welcome you all to the first ever podcast organized by our very own literary club, Abhivyakti, the Timeless Tales. As we all are excited to learn from the experienced, let's dive in and know our esteemed guest for today. He is not only a successful and a wonderful surgeon, but also a sculptor to thousands of minds. He is none other than Dr. Subhrajit Dasgupta from Department of Surgery. I would request the host to escort Sir. I would request Rahul Maitre to shed light on his journey.
थैंक यू पायल। इल्म की रोशनी जब हुनर से मिल जाए, इल्म की रोशनी जब हुनर से मिल जाए तो सफ़र मंजिलों के नहीं मिसालों के बन जाते हैं। आज हमारे दरमियाँ है एक ऐसी हस्ती जिन्होंने ना सिर्फ कई ज़िंदगियाँ बचाई है बल्कि हम जैसे कईयों की ज़िंदगियाँ बनाई भी है। I am here to take you all through a journey of excellence, dedication and compassion. A journey of Dr. Subhrajit Dasgupta Sir. Dr. Subhrajit Dasgupta Sir has got 83% at his time in HSC exams. Then he did his MBBS and MS in General Surgery from Government Medical College Nagpur in the year of 1983. He took up lectureship at GMC Nagpur in April 1984. He worked in government medical colleges at Nagpur and Miraj till he resigned from the post of Associate Professor in 1993. He then joined NKP Sarve Institute of Medical Sciences and Lata Mangeshkar Hospital as a professor in surgery on 1st of Jan 1994. He continued there as a professor in surgery for 21 years. He was then appointed Dean of Institute in 2006, a post which he held till 2015. Dr. Dasgupta Sir was instrumental in the upbringing of the institute at all the levels. He increased the UG seats from 100 to 150. He brought the post-graduation in all the subjects and super specialty MELT courses in plastic surgery and pediatric surgery. He is recognized as an able administrator too, having brought the institute from the infancy to the present state. He is known as a great teacher and highly proficient surgeon. He is trained as hepatopancreatic biliary surgeon, having undergone training at the University of Heidelberg, Germany, under world-famous pediatric surgeon Professor Marnus Buckler. He has personal interest in pancreas and has presented a paper on neuroendocrine tumors at pancreas at World Congress of IHPBA at Buenos Aires, Argentina in 2012. He has many publications in Indian journals at the national and international level. He was awarded the prestigious Baliram Dubey Oration and late Dr. Garpure Oration during the Massicon. He was the organizing chairperson of the Massicon held in Nagpur in 2003. He resigned from the post of Dean in 2015 and was a Dean at Mahavir Institute of Medical Sciences near Hyderabad. Later in 2017, he was appointed as Director at Rashtrasant Tukroji Regional Cancer Center at Nagpur. In 2021, he was appointed as Medical Director at KIMS Kingsway Hospital. He then joined PDMMC as Professor in Surgery in August 2023. His stature at that time was so big that the newspapers have also acknowledged his joining at the Dr. PDMMC Amravati. His love and affection for teaching brought him back to the teaching institute. His mastery in art of teaching, his skills as an astute surgeon, his abilities as an administrator, his command as an orator, his passion for distraught animals, his love for seeing the world are few aspects of his multifaceted personality. At last, I would like to say, with decades of experiences, hundreds of students mentored, and countless lives saved, Sir is more than a surgeon. He is a sculptor who carves surgeon out of the students. So, after such an effortless introduction, I won't keep you all awaiting more to listen our esteemed guest. It is an honor to present you our respected guest, Dr. Subhrajit Dasgupta Sir, and our hosts for the podcast, Samruddhi Ma'am and Anushka Tidke.
Sir, तो इतना बड़ा सफ़र था आपका, इतने अचीवमेंट्स मिले, so we really want to know what motivated you to become a doctor.
Well, I did not require much motivation because there was already a doctor in my family. My elder sister, Dr. Shikha Mitra, is a very renowned gynecologist. And my brother-in-law, late Dr. Indrajit Mitra. They were the alumni of Government Medical College, Nagpur of 1967 batch. And specifically my brother-in-law, Dr. Indrajit Mitra, holds a unique record of having won all the gold medals except in ophthalmology, right from first MBBS to final MBBS under Nagpur University. Now Nagpur University has given up. It's now under MUHS, and I was told that all the medals which at that time was given by Nagpur University no longer exist. So this record still holds. They were my real motivation. And when my sister and brother-in-law were doing residency, I was in school, in high school. And my sister used to make me read chapters, and she used to listen. So my induction to medical college started when I was in high school. And so I did not require much of a motivation, and it was predetermined that I should take no other vocation apart from being a doctor.
That is amazing, sir. But everyone's childhood has a little influence on their future, on their present. So how was your childhood? Like, where did you grow up? How was the environment around you?
You see, I was born in Kolkata, that time called Calcutta. But, and my father was a mechanical engineer. And in my childhood, when I was maybe 2-3 years old, he got a job in Rourkela steel plant. If anybody of you know, it's in Orissa. And we migrated there from Kolkata. And my initial childhood was in Rourkela. And when I grew up and was admitted to a school, it was a public school called as Ispat School. But I spent very few years with my parents and at Rourkela. That time, you know, every summer vacation and every winter vacation, we used to come to Nagpur because my maternal uncles and, you know, jisko hum log mama badi bolte hain ki nahi. So that was in Nagpur. And in the year 1969, when I had just appeared for my final examination of standard 6th, I came here in a winter vacation, as I used to do every year. And one of my uncles, who used to work in Reserve Bank, he took me on a bicycle and told me, come, I will show you around the city. And he took me around that southern area and in front of the Bishop Cotton School and said, do you want to read in this school? It's the best school in Nagpur and one of the oldest. I instantly said yes. And what happened, you know, the next day, we came to the school. That time, if I am correct, Mr. Bright, no, I'm forgetting the name of the principal, Mr. Prasad. He was there. And my uncle said that he wants to take admission in this school. He has just appeared for the class 6th examination. He said, where is the result? Well, the result is yet to be out. Okay. So I will admit him in standard 7. If he passes, he continues. If he fails, he goes back to 6th. I said, yes. And that I came to Nagpur. I never went back to my parents, you know. So I continued to stay there. I took admission. My father came after 15 days with the result and with a suitcase with some of my belongings. And that started my journey in Nagpur, which continued. So that is how I came to Nagpur from Orissa. And Nagpur became my home. And I passed my schooling. I did pre-medical from Institute of Science, which was the most prestigious institute at that time. There was no pre-medical. We had to do first year BSc. And after that, in 1975, I took admission to Government Medical College, Nagpur. So that is how my journey from school to medical college started. And my upbringing has been with my maternal uncles and aunties, So I will not hesitate in saying that I am more closer to them even more than my parents, because you see, they have nurtured me, they have brought me up and took care of me when I was in that phase of my adolescence and growth, and their influence on me shaped my personality to a very, very great extent.
Okay, that's so interesting, sir. What kind of student were you in your UG days?
Like, were you a studious one? Did you ever bunk classes or something?
I think you should have taken Dean Sir here on the dais, because all this which I'm going to say has a deep association with him. Whatever I'm talking, he is a witness to it. We are colleagues from school. The Bishop Cotton School which I'm talking about, he is my classmate from school in Nagpur. I think, did you show a picture of my school days? No, okay. So anyhow, we were together from 1970.
Oh, that's a long time.
Yeah, how many years? Count?
55 years.
None of you were born then.
I'm sure none of our parents
So,
were born, maybe.
we are schoolmates, we are classmates in Medical College, Nagpur. So our association is since last 40 years. And it's not a coincidence that I came to PDMC. I had no love for PDMC. It was only him, for him I came here, frankly speaking.
So, Dean sir, would you like to share us something about Dasgupta sir that not many of us know about? Okay, sir.
So he has seen me in school, and the question, coming back to your question, what sort of student I was. I was I should say, self-assessment, I will give a very good student. The reason is that all the teachers liked me, loved me. But if you ask me for a purava, then he is a witness. I have got a witness to vouch for this authenticity of my statement. And I will tell you a small incident. There was a teacher who used to teach us English literature and also biology, Mrs. Ravid and Mrs. Joseph. We used to have class test, that is at the end of every month they used to take a test. And that teacher used to give me the papers to correct. And all other students in my class used to look at me, some with envy, some with surprise, as to he is a student like us. Why teacher is giving him the paper to correct our papers? I think that should answer your question. And starting from class 7th till I did my higher secondary till 11th standard, I never stood second. And I got passed in merit in my higher secondary. It was called higher secondary that time. It was 11th standard, not 12th like these days. And another small thing I would like to share with you, that you see, we had a 3-language, English, Hindi, Marathi, but then in Bishop Cotton School particularly, we had a choice of opting for Marathi / Urdu, because there was an Urdu teacher. And I thought that now that I have come to stay in Maharashtra, I will learn Marathi any day, but I cannot learn Urdu, so I opted for Urdu as my 3rd language. And you will be surprised, I got distinction in Urdu in my higher secondary. So I got an opportunity to learn a new language, though not at a very high level. I can still write Urdu. But as it happens with any language, if you're not in touch with it, you tend to forget it. But then I had Urdu as a third language, and we had 3-4 Muslim students in my class. So I surpassed them. They scored much less than me. So I scored the highest in Urdu and got a distinction in higher secondary. So that was my performance as a school student. Later on in Institute of Science in my pre-medical also, you see, getting admission to a medical college, you all are meritorious students, but the process through which you are going now is totally different than what we did. You are going through a much tougher process, I should admit that. So we did first year BSc, that is pre-medical, and it was a class of almost, say, 100, 120 students, and maybe hardly 20, 24 students got admission to government medical college. So even there was a tough competition in those days. And fortunately, I scored good marks and got admission in the first attempt in the first round itself in GMC Nagpur. Getting admission in GMC Nagpur was extremely prestigious in those days, you see. Though there was Indira Gandhi Medical College, it was under corporation in those days. Later on, it became a government medical college. These were the only 2 colleges. So there was high demand for medical colleges in GMC Nagpur. So Dr. A.T. Deshmukh, your dean, myself, and where is my wife? So she is also our batchmate in medical college. So you see, our batch, 1975, produced 4 couples. We are one, there are other 3. So these are certain anecdotes to share with you of my undergraduate days in school and in medical college also.
Surely something to look up for a lot of students here. But apart from academics.
By the way, I don't find much of coupling these days. We had a lot of coupling in those days. Dr. Bunkar is a student of GMC Nagpur. There are many like him, I think, in this institute who are alumni of GMC. In those days, you know, I don't know what was the reason, but there was a lot of coupling in undergraduate, postgraduate days. And you will also quite interesting to note that even there were certain teachers who used to encourage this activity. And in fact, there were many marriages which were initiated and conducted by some of the great teachers of those days. Professor Marva being one of them, if you recollect. So that thing was there. I think it was good, isn't it?
Certainly.
Okay.
So apart from academics, what did you enjoy the most?
I enjoyed everything. You see, life is for enjoyment. And whenever you get something new, that enjoyment is always there. Like, say, the enjoyment of getting admission to a medical college. But every enjoyment has a honeymoon period, you know. Right from your admission to marriage, to having the first child, to doing something unique. But enjoyment, I would rather label it as something which has to be sustainable. So if you enjoy a thing only sporadically for a limited period of time, I think the reason of that enjoyment is not on sound foundation. So if the reason of your enjoyment is genuine, then I think you keep on enjoying that association, that event for a long time in your life. I enjoyed my studies. I enjoyed my association with GMC. I dreamt about being a doctor, which I did. Not only that, I tried to follow the footsteps of some of my mentors, one of whom I mentioned, my brother-in-law and my elder sister. There are certain things which I could not also achieve. But then, looking into the positive part of it, I'm extremely a satisfied man for having done justice to the work at hand, and I think I have become a fairly good doctor, and I'm able to fulfill the expectations of my patients, my students, and that passion of being a medical teacher still continues in me. And that is why, as you said in your introduction, it has brought me to this college. You're absolutely right. Not that I had any other choices, I had plenty. Before joining this institute, I had 3 offers of becoming a dean in some medical colleges in Indore and in Rajasthan, which I refused. And I came here primarily for the love of teaching and being closer to students like you. Sitting in front of you today, frankly speaking, I must admit that when I come face to face with young blood like you, it really energizes me and motivates me to do something more. And I still feel that whatever I have done in my life, in whatever fields I have worked, is too inadequate. I would rather live another life to fulfill all my aspirations and dreams.
We really are grateful that you decided to join this college. And I would like to ask, apart from Dean Sir and Dasgupta ma'am, are you still in contact with your college friends?
Sure. We are in constant touch, but you see, ours was a batch of 200 students. And after you do MBBS, go into post-graduation, your contacts become smaller and smaller because the students, they spread away doing post-graduation in other colleges, in other states in the country. Many of them migrated abroad, and therefore the contacts become less. But still, majority remain in contact. Of course, there is always a core group of friends, right? So I also had a core group. He is one of them. That time, we had nothing but a bicycle. We used to go to medical college on bicycle. There were no two-wheelers. I mean, not that we did not purchase, it was just not there in the market. The first two-wheeler was, I don't know, I'm forgetting the name. Luna. So that came, I think, much later. So we used to, up to final MBBS, we used to go to medical college, all of us on bicycle. That was one. And I used to go to his house in Surendranagar on bicycle. He used to come. He knows this house which I'm talking about, where I grew up and I spent the later half of my school days. He was a frequent visitor. So we had a core group of students. You see, he was there, Sunil Lanjewar was there, Satish Deshmukh was there. And we used to meet very frequently and gossip and eat in each other's houses, and that's how we used to spend our time, because there was no TV, there was no mobile, there was no other distraction outside, and so we used to look out to spend whatever time we had in sharing with our friends. Once in a while we used to go to movies. So we have bunked classes and seen movies. Right, there was a theater in front of our school, Bishop Cotton School, Liberty Theater, if some of you have seen Nagpur. So there were occasions when we bunked classes and went to see the afternoon movie slot in that Liberty Theater. So that is how we enjoyed our younger days, not losing focus on our main activity, that is studying.
That is important.
So in spite of having done all this, we excelled in our academics and achieved what we have achieved today.
Yes. I think that is what is the most important thing. Balance is what it is.
Exactly. That is the message I want to give all of you students. You see that success and failure are a part of life. everybody of you have learned cycling, and I'm sure there is not a single one who has not fallen down while learning to cycle. So falling down hasn't deterred you from learning. So when you fall down during learning cycling, you again get up. Even with the bruises, you start cycling. And once you know cycling, you never forget it in your life. So like swimming, like cycling, during swimming, you take in water in your stomach, you vomit it out, but then once you learn swimming, you never forget it. So that is how success, you see, Winston Churchill, I don't know if you have heard the name. He was the former British Prime Minister, and he became very, very famous because he was instrumental in winning the Second World War against Nazi Germany at a time when the Allied forces were losing. And so Winston Churchill was made the Prime Minister of England. England was the most powerful country at that time, even more powerful than United States. And Winston Churchill is attributed as the person who made this happen. Winston Churchill said that success is not the final thing, and failure is not fatal. So once you meet with failure, it's not the end of your life. But what is more important is to learn from your failures and have the courage to continue. So this is a quote of Sir Winston Churchill. And you see, what great people have said or taught us reminds us, gives us the motivation and the energy to carry on in spite of all our failures or setbacks. And that's a message I want to give each of you students. You know, late APJ Abdul Kalam, our former president, once said that one of the best brains of the country are the backbenchers. So, you see, getting a merit in an examination, getting a gold medal in a subject, or excelling in an event is not the finish. It is the person who sustains. Jo jeeta wo Sikandar. So it is the test of your endurance, that how long and how far you can go maintaining the standard and the quality, and that is what is more important than achieving isolated successes. So this quote of late Abdul Kalam is also very important. And if you see, he has been an iconic figure for the youth and has written books, Wings of Fire, if you have read it, and many other such books, which really are very motivating, inspiring. And these are the personalities who inspire you. Sometimes even when you are depressed or when you are low in your achievements, these great people, the thoughts of these great people, the sayings of these great people make you stand up and continue with a new vigor. So, you see, everybody has some mentor, some iconic figure in their lives, each of you. And human beings are a unique creature to imitate, like many animals also, like apes, like monkeys, and there are many other animals who imitate each other. But humans are the biggest and the best imitators. And so whatever we become in life, whatever we later on develop, what we label as a personality, there is a share of people behind it.
Absolutely.
So you can identify the trait and the personality depending upon under whom I have worked, under whose influence I have been. Like you see, the son and the father, they have similarities. not only look-wise, but the way they walk, the way they talk, you know. So these you imbibe unknowingly, and that becomes your lifestyle, your personality later on. So there is always good to have mentors. It's always good to have iconic figures. That day, Dr. Swapnil came to my room. There is a photograph kept on my table. I told him, do you know what is this photograph? And he said, no, sir. I said, you don't find any photograph of any god or goddesses in my room, or any political personality, prime minister, president, nobody. But this photograph belongs to my postgraduate teacher, Professor M.L. Gandhi. So me and my professor sitting together in a clinical meeting, sharing the dais, is a memorable photograph for me. So I worship my mentor, Professor Gandhi, who is no more. But his characteristics, some of them, I have imbibed in my personality. So both of you spoke so high of me, that I'm a very reputed person, this, that. You know, Professor Gandhi was one of the most strictest disciplinarian Nagpur Medical College has ever seen. He knows about it. 8 o'clock means 8 o'clock. He used to see his wristwatch. He used to come 5 minutes before 8 o'clock for the ward rounds. But he would not enter the ward before 8 o'clock. If he came, say, 5 minutes to 8, he used to walk in the corridor like a lion. And as soon as it was 8 o'clock, he used to enter the ward. Discipline. And we used to, as resident, we had to finish our rounds before Sir came. So imagine at what time we used to enter the wards. 7 o'clock? Because we had to manage 2 wards with minimum 30 to 35 patients each. So that was the discipline, that was the rigorous training which we have undergone. So times have changed, okay. We don't expect you to work like a horse or a donkey like we did, but then the type of work we did has paid dividends. In economic language, if you invest now, you reap the dividends after 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. So, you should sow, not SO. I'm talking about sow, that is SOW. So, sow the seed today and you will eat the fruits tomorrow.
So how did surgery happen? Like when did you realize that surgery was the one?
How did surgery happen? That's a question I was expecting. But I have not come prepared with it. Because these, whatever I'm telling you, are practical experiences. You know, when I was in school, in maybe 9th, 10th, my sister got married by that time. She went to her in-laws' house to stay. I used to visit her on weekends. And my sister and brother-in-law, they used to tell me cases. Today I operated this and today I operated that. There was a lot of bleeding. And I used to ask them question. I never had an idea that why bleeding occurs, from where it occurs, and how you stop bleeding. How is the color of the blood red? He said RBCs. What are RBCs? My question was, do you catch RBCs? So, you know, that's how the discussion used to go on. Primarily, I became a surgeon. Our determination to become a surgeon was taken when I was in first MBBS. Eight of our batchmates became surgeons. And decision to do so was taken in first MBBS. And that is why we used to focus more on subjects which would help us in getting good marks in surgery. So anatomy was one of them. pathology was another. So like that, we used to choose subjects. Not that we didn't study all subjects, but then our focus was more in such subjects. And it was right from maybe school, even before I took admission in a medical college, I was determined that I should become a surgeon. And my brother-in-law used to tell me, become a surgeon. Surgeon is the only person who works with his own hands. Physicians don't. Because physicians, they carry only a stethoscope. They are afraid of blood. And they treat by giving medicines and injections only. We are craftsmen, karigar. And the craftsmen have their worth. So you see, that is how he influenced me. And not that he was wrong. And the world is going away from this art of craftsmanship, isn't it? Because we are being overtaken by robots. We are being overtaken by artificial intelligence. So what will become to the surgeon's hands? What will become to our intelligence if we become so heavily dependent on artificial intelligence? But let me tell you at the same time, human intelligence will never diminish. Because ultimately this artificial intelligence has been created by human intelligence. So if a day comes when artificial intelligence gets smarter than human intelligence, then human intelligence will go one step ahead. So nothing to defeat that. But one thing worries me are the skills of a surgeon. We have become so much dependent on technology. I am not discouraging technology, but over-dependence on anything is not good. So it is my observation that the surgeons of these days are losing to some extent. I don't say that they are not skillful. They are doing great surgeries. But the skill is being, the mechanical skill is being substituted by technology. Not that it is bad, it is good, because technology has given safety to the patients. It has given refinement to the procedures. It has given excellent results. So you used the word balance some time back. And this is where balance comes, that there has to be a balancing of everything. There has to be a balance of skills and technology. There has to be a balance between human intelligence and artificial intelligence. There has to be a red line of dependency on instrumentations and technology. At what cost? So that's a big question.
So, sir, you are a man of dream and a passion, and that's something to look up to. So, after choosing surgery, what was your PG days like?
PG days, I really relish. I enjoyed each and every day of my PG-ship. Because, you know, I was really lucky having worked under great people. Not only of GMC, but they were iconic figures of the state of Maharashtra. I have worked under people like Professor ML Gandhe, Professor N.K. Deshmukh, you must have heard of, he's still living, Professor R.N. Das. They were the three Ratnas of the Department of Surgery in those days. And each had a different quality. And that is why I told you that I took some quality from Professor Gandhe, I took some qualities from N.K. Deshmukh, I took some qualities from Professor R.N. Das. Dr. M.L. Gandhe was a disciplinarian. He was an extremely meticulous person. He aimed that a doctor has to be holistic, not only that you are a good technician, good skillful surgery, but it should be a good human being. That was his personality. Dr. N.K. Deshmukh, excellent teacher, work master, surgical efficiency, glamour. Have you seen N.K. Deshmukh? You ask him. He worked in this institute for, I think, 2-3 years. A very glamorous person. Still he is. He was one of the most neatly dressed, smartly dressed persons. You know, when I find interns coming to my ward with chappals and without a bath and without a shave and uncombed hair, I have driven them out from my rounds quite a few times. You ask them. I said, first you go out, take a bath, you wash your apron, polish your shoes, have a haircut, and then come to my ward. You should look like a doctor here. Sometimes when I go into along the corridor, sometimes it's difficult to make out whether you're really a doctor or an attendant or a paramedic. I recognize them by their uniform or maybe by this badge which they wear. Otherwise, look-wise, they are unrecognizable. There is a phrase that face is the index of man. Your presentation has to be good. You are in a profession where you should keep yourself smartly dressed so that your presentation is impressive and good. I'm not talking to the boys to influence girls. But then, the way you present yourself has an impact on whosoever is in front of you. So I hope I have given you a message to the undergraduate students.
Absolutely, sir. We'll keep a note of that.
So postgraduates are not here. This was a message specifically for postgraduates. I don't know why you don't wear shoes. 50% of the persons here I find roaming about in chappals. Is that the culture of a medical college? Affording or not affording is a different thing. But you should wear shoes. Why not? When you go to attend a marriage, you are dressed for that occasion or not? So when you are in a medical college, you should be dressed for that occasion. Next.
So how was your first surgery? What was the experience?
Don't talk about first surgery. Because I really don't recollect what was my first surgeries. You see, as house surgeon, that time we used to call house surgeon, the first JR1 were house surgeons. That time residency system was not there. We used to do simple surgeries like circumcision and suturing and all those things which... but yes, if you ask me a question, what were the challenging surgeries? Do you have this in your questionnaire?
Absolutely, sir. Please tell us.
So, you know, there are certain surgeries which has made me a more determined surgeon. It has made me a more skillful surgeon. It has made me a more decisive surgeon. You know, a surgeon, qualities of a surgeon is not that a person who does good surgery. A good surgeon is one who should be able to take decisions, the right decisions at the right time. And one of the biggest decisions is when not to do surgery. Yesterday I discharged one patient of a splenic trauma, grade 4 laceration of the spleen in a 47-year-old woman who fell down in the house when there were monkeys jumping on her tiles. She fell down and she sustained a blunt injury, abdomen. She came with a hemoglobin of 4 grams with massive hemoperitoneum, and the CT scan showed that her spleen was lacerated, grade 3. We treated that patient conservatively, gave her multiple transfusions. The vitals were stable, and that made us decide to conserve her and not to do a laparotomy. We were lucky in the sense because later on I found that she had a massive splenomegaly. And you know that splenomegaly turned out to be what? It was an acute lymphatic leukemia. So that lady who came to the surgical casualty 2 Tuesdays back, and I saw her in the casualty, fortunately I did, and I gave instructions because my next, one of my juniors faculty asked my residents to prepare this patient for laparotomy. I gave strict instructions, write in red letters, patient not to be touched. Because her blood investigation showed that she had pancytopenia. Her platelets were 26,000. She had severe leukopenia. Now imagine what might have happened to this patient had we attempted to do a splenectomy with this blood picture. So, a good surgeon is one who knows when not to operate. Then a good surgeon is also one. This is one of the characters. The other character is to take a decision, the right decision at the right time. So coming back to where I left about what were the challenging cases I did in my postgraduate days or when I was a young lecturer. You know, we used to do casualty duties. In those days, doing casualty duties was compulsory, even for lecturers. We used to stay in a room in casualty for 24 hours, 48 hours. I was in Unit 1, so Monday was my admission day. By rotation, Sunday used to come as a rotation day. We have done duties for continuous 48 hours without relief. We have spent nights with samosas, no other food. I have done in one night 7 laparotomies. 7, starting at 6 o'clock in the evening and ending at 8 o'clock next day morning. So, you see, nowadays we get complaints from the parents. मेरे बच्चे को तो खाने पीने को वक्त नहीं है. When I was dean at NKP, I got one letter from Human Rights Commission through Ministry of Health. There was a postgraduate student, a girl in gynec obstetrics. Her mother complained to Ministry of Health that at NKP Salve Institute, they are torturing my girl. She has no time to eat, no time to sleep. She is mentally harassed. She is in depression. So the Health Ministry sent a letter to the dean for an explanation. So one of the message I always give you, once you have chosen this profession, you forget all these things. Duty hours, ghar ka khana. That day madam was telling me one girl student in ENT, she disappeared, she did not come. When she came, she asked, where were you all these days? I went home. Why did you go home? I was homesick. So you see a final year student having spent more than 3 years in this institute still feels homesick. I can understand first MBBS student feeling homesick in the initial few months. But after 4 years, after 3 years, I don't know what is the reason. Maybe it is the upbringing, maybe our upbringing was different, whatever it may be. Medical profession is tough. It is challenging. It has its ups and downs. And unless you are able to cope up with this rigorous activity and also the stress levels, you can never be a successful doctor. So decision making. One day I was doing duty in the casualty. I used to stay very close to the college, walking distance. We used to go. Otherwise also I did not have a vehicle. When I first purchased that Luna, when I spent 2-3 years as lecturer, what was my salary then? 1,540 rupees. How much? In the year 1984. I still got the pay slip. So there was a patient in the afternoon. I was about to go for lunch. I saw some gadbad in the casualty gate. I saw, there was a stretcher coming down. There was a young boy about 8-10 years old. The father of the child had a gamcha, a cloth around the neck. It was soaked with blood. I said, I should not take my lunch. This is my case. I went in. I asked what happened. This guy was flying a kite on a building under construction. That boy fell down, and that iron rod pierced his neck. Obviously, a major vessel was injured. So I took a couple of pads, sterile pads. I removed that gamcha and put that pad. I asked my resident, go to the emergency OT, tell the anesthetist to prepare the trolley. I am coming with a patient of vascular injury. And you go. I took the patient, got the blood collected for grouping cross-matching there in the casualty. And with a handful of people, I accompanied this boy on the stretcher to the emergency OT. Put the patient on the table, asked my assistant, you go and wash. I had not changed, I was in my clothes. Then when he came scrubbed, I said, now you press, I will go and scrub. I scrubbed. Then I came, anesthetist had intubated. That patient had got a complete disruption of the common and the bifurcation of the carotids. Anatomy, common carotid giving rise to internal and external carotid. There was a transaction at the junction. We had vascular clamps, bulldogs, we clamped. That day, no vascular surgeon, no super specialty. But with whatever I had, I anastomosed the internal carotid to the common carotid, sacrificed the external carotid, because external carotid is not that important as internal carotid. And because you have the contralateral vessel to take care of the circulation, decision making. So we did a vascular anastomosis. The child survived, had a transient paraparesis for 2 weeks, but later on when we discharged, he went home walking. So that child was a very challenging case. And another case before, there are many cases, but this I think you should know. A lady came to the casualty and had some surgical problem, but underwent a cardiac arrest. On the bed, I was standing there. Initially we gave external cardiac massage, this, that, intubation, but the heart could not be revived. What I did was I wore the gloves, took a knife and opened her chest on the bed. I opened her left part of the chest in the fourth intercostal space, gave a direct cardiac massage and revived that heart. I put in a chest tube, closed the chest, shifted her to the ward, and she survived and went home. So you see, this is what I have enjoyed. I have saved lives with my hands, took a right decision at the right time. And even if you save one life in your lifetime, that's great. That's great. So these have inspired me to improve myself and learning better things, newer things from others. There is nothing to be ashamed of learning things from your subordinates, from your seniors, even from your juniors, as long as you are learning the right thing for the betterment of the patient. और भी है?
So, sir, you had taught generation of doctors yourself. What difference do you see between the medical life you had and the medical life of students right now?
As students, you mean?
Yes.
Life is totally different. We had a life, we struggled, but we enjoyed. You know, I used to get a tiffin from my mommy. She used to send morning and evening lunch and dinner. There were tiffin wallas those days who used to deliver the tiffin at our hostel rooms. I could never eat my tiffin because by the time I came to my room, my tiffin was finished. Others used to eat my tiffin. So that was a very common thing happening. I had a room, but 50% of the time I never slept on my bed because somebody else was sleeping. I slept under the bed on an extra mattress which used to be available in every room. So we struggled, but we enjoyed. And that is why these have made us tough. So small things don't bother us. Small challenges don't deter us. So they make us more determined to overcome the obstacles because we have seen and tackled so much and so many of them in our younger days.
So now we'll come to the most awaited question of the day. We are all students of Dr. Dasgupta ma'am as well. She's an inspiration herself. We all would like to know, how did you meet?
How did I meet?
How did you two
I
meet?
told you right at the beginning, we were classmates. Every day we used to meet.
We want the call.
I think your phrasing of the question should have been different. That what made you marry her? Otherwise, boys and girls meet. What is that?
So we want to know your story, if you're comfortable.
Yeah, I will tell you. Yeah, I'm very comfortable. There's nothing to hide. You see, we were house surgeons. House surgeon means co-JRs. So we used to work in the same ward, you know. And what else? She was very sincere, hardworking, good looking, and we used to spend a lot of time together. So when two people spend a lot of time together, there is some extra bonding, and that bonding takes you to the coffee house. We are an Indian coffee house, not CCDs like today. We used to have a coffee of maybe 25 paisa or 30 paisa. And that's how it developed, and one day I decided that, yes, I think she is the right girl for me. And so, consent of parents were taken later. Both the parties did not object. Though we had a lot of diversities. I am a non-vegetarian Bengali, a flesh eater. She is a very docile Jain, vegetable eater. So if you see, many people still ask these questions. A lot of our classmates do. That how, especially this question was to her, that how did you marry this fellow? Anyhow, what has happened has happened. No regrets, no going back.
We also have Dr. Dasgupta ma'am as well here with us today. Ma'am, would you like to add something?
110. Come on.
नहीं ठीक है मैडम
I have known Dr. Subhrajit Dasgupta for last 55 years exactly. It was in early 70s when we joined Bishop Cotton School. In fact, I joined earlier than him, 1 year earlier. And as he said, he never allowed me to be first rank in the school. I know more about Subhrajit than Kalpana knows. Though Kalpana may not agree to it, but I know more about him. So had been a very, very long, acquaintance or a friendship. I've seen him from very, very close quarters. An excellent student who excelled in oration. He was always a debater from the school. I still remember he represented Bishop Cotton School, then later on even when he went to GMC, he was a part of the debater team, debating as well as extempore. In those days, even extempore was quite, in fact when we were students there was no social media. So most of it was, the most common hobby was reading, debating. I have read, he didn't talk about it, but we were, I mean, the most commonality between most of those students or friends was reading, and what we read then, right from Arthur Riley to Ayn Rand, I mean, the whole spectrum of it. That I find missing in today's students, that our discussions were not just about medicine. Sports, right from international relations, we could speak on anything. टाइम तो पास करना था इतना सारा, इतना डिस्कशन क्या होता था. मेडिसिन तो हो गया, वो थोड़ा डिस्कस कर लिया. रेस्ट ऑफ द टाइम वी यूज्ड टू स्पीक अ लॉट अबाउट. सो जनरली he was very well versed in almost all the fields. What I would like to ask from him is, what is the difference you find between medical education then in 70s and today?
Oh. It's a short question with a very, very long answer, but I will cut my answer, edit it to the minimum possible. That, you see, there are always two sides of a coin, good and bad. There are certain good things which has happened now. There were certain good things which had happened then. One of the good things which was there in our times was the training. I would also say the extent of curriculum, and that curriculum made us more holistic doctors than what we are producing today. We have been, the present medical education has been experimenting with curriculum, with the examination system, and every year or every once in 2 years, there is some addition, subtraction, chopping. We had a total of, I think, 7 subjects in final MBBS. Now I believe there are 13 or 14. So I don't believe addition of subjects have improved the performance of a student. Say, for example, creating pediatrics as a different subject, which was previously a part of general medicine. ENT was a part of general surgery. Orthopedics also was a part of general surgery. Microbiology was a part of pathology. But yes, the way science has developed, the way these fields have developed, certain subjects deserved a separation from its parent subject, like orthopedics, like pediatrics. But we are stretching the things too far. I mean, I would not be surprised that in years to come, maybe gastroenterology will be a subject for undergraduate, or maybe, I mean, there are a number of subjects. You see, what I'm finding today is that these super specialty, so-called super specialty subjects, like urology, pediatric surgery, traumatic, gastroenterology, oncosurgery, oncologies, they have virtually disappeared from the curriculum of general surgery. Similar things are happening with general medicine also. So in an attempt to probably give a dose of everything to everyone, like, let me end it with a sentence, jack of all, master of none. And what wrong was there if you say that Dr. Dasgupta is a very good doctor, he's a very good teacher, he's a very good surgeon. But Dr. Dasgupta was produced in 1984. That means the system existent then was very good, that it has produced good doctors, an excellent pathologist like Dr. A.T. Deshmukh, a very good surgeon like Dr. Dasgupta. So there was nothing wrong was in the system there. Not that we are not producing good doctors now, but if you see numerically, you see, worldwide, Indian doctors are reputed, skilled, with a lot of name and fame. And every generation produces good doctors. ये जो लोग कहते हैं ना हमारे ज़माने में, Whenever a senior person starts talking to a junior person, he starts talking about his zamana. Every zamana has got good people and bad people and average people. Even your generation, I'm sure, is going to produce excellent doctors. Who knows, somebody amongst you sitting there will become a dean of a medical college. Who knows, you will become a director of a big institute. Did I know at undergraduate I will become a dean of a medical college? Did he know? No. So all systems are good. They require certain fine-tuning. But in this today's medical education system, I feel a disconnect between the policymakers sitting in New Delhi and dictating certain things which are totally different from the ground situation which we see today. And another very disappointing thing is that extreme dilution of the examination system. That has snatched away the importance of learning, teaching, examination. This is one of the reasons I squarely blame for the disinterest among the students sitting here in abstaining classes, in taking examinations lightly, because they know that passing is almost guaranteed. So I regret this.
So we are also very well known that your love for stray animals, and you have as well.
I love animals in general, but I have special affection for stray dogs. In my car, you will always find a jar of biscuits. And even the stray dogs in this campus, they know me, you know. Every morning they come near my car. They come running from a distance. They recognize my car, they recognize me. But yes, I feed a lot of stray dogs. When I was in Nagpur, I used to feed more than a dozen dogs. I gave voluntary donations to a couple of NGOs in India who have larger sanctuaries for taking care of stray dogs. Whenever I get an opportunity, I help injured animals and take them to animal hospitals. My car dashed against a calf one day when I was in Nagpur. I took that in a separate vehicle and took that calf to a veterinary hospital. There was a cow sitting in front of my gate for 2-3 days. Then I noticed that this cow is not getting up. I found that he has fractured his leg. So I took cardboards and a bandage and I splintered his leg. And after a few days I saw him limping, and after a few weeks I found that cardboard lying in front of my gate. I mean, he was nowhere. That means his fractured heel and he went away. So these are small things. You see, affection for an animal is affection for life.
He has operated on dogs also.
My own pet dog, he had a tumor of the tail. I operated him myself. And my pathologist colleague, Dr. Ravi, did the histopathology. It was a histiocytoma. I operated it in one of my postgraduate students who has a nursing home in Nagpur. I operated it in his OT under local anesthesia. When I asked my radiologist colleague, "Arey, ek X-ray to kar," he was like, "Arey yaar, tu दोपहर को 3-4 बजे आना जब कोई पेशेंट नहीं रहेंगे." मतलब क्यों? अरे लोग क्या बोलेंगे, मैं आदमी के हॉस्पिटल में जानवर को ला रहे. So that's how I operated on my own pet. So that's how, because I could do it because I was a surgeon. Not many people can do it, but I did it. So I loved animals, dogs in particular. I had a lot of pet dogs. I still feed the stray dogs. I wish I could have done something more for them.
Sir, so finally, what is one piece of advice you would like to give all of us?
Advice. If you permit me, I will read out a poem. And that poem has all the advice. Right? So, this poem is by Rabindranath Tagore. Heard his name?
Yes, sir.
He was one of the few Nobel laureates of our country in literature. where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. Don't be afraid of anything. Whatever you are, average, below average, above average, meritorious, be proud of yourself. Where knowledge is free, you don't have to pay any premium, right? Where the world has not broken up into fragments, means don't indulge in petty things. No jativad, no religious discrimination, no rich and poor, we all are equals. Keep this philosophy in life by narrow domestic walls. Nowadays we see a lot of this. So do not fall prey to what is going on these days. 90% of the things are fake. There's a lot of fake news going on. Believe in what you think is right and don't get carried away by rumors or by what others say. Where the words come from the depth of truth. We are doctors. We practice evidence-based medicine. Believe what is true and don't believe in rumors. Where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. No shortcut to success. So tireless effort till you achieve your destination. Where the clear stream of reason has not broken up into fragments. Where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way. So don't lose off your targets in the dreary desert sand of dead habit. Where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action, into the heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. So be truthful to yourself. Pay due respect to your teachers. Pay due respect to your parents. Your parents are awaiting at home that my son and daughter are going to be renowned doctors. Don't fail them. Don't fail them. Getting admission to a medical college and getting to stay in a hostel is not freedom. That doesn't give you the license to do anything, to drink, to smoke, to do activities which are not decent in our profession. So pay due respect to the sentiments of the parents and your grandparents who have sent you here to achieve a lot of things, sacrificing their lives. Have allegiance to the institute. Have allegiance to the people, the patients who are like gods to you. And have allegiance to the community and the country where you live. That is my message. Be a good person.
So, sir, before ending this session, I would like to ask whether anyone from audience is interested to ask sir any question. Feel free to ask.
I think you can come to my room anytime. I have a room where I spend a lot of time. If you just want to talk to me, you can come. It's not only for academics. Chalo, I think you have asked a lot of questions. Bola.
कुटुंबामध्ये मला चौघांचा फोटो दिसला मुलगा आणि मुलगी तर ती सध्या काय करते मुलगा काय करतोय आणि मुलगी काय
नाही कोणता कुटुंब I have only one son. माझी सून. So my son Aniruddha is what should I say? He is an engineer. He has not become a doctor in spite of both of us being doctors, but then, okay, he has taken his decision. He is a hardware engineer working in USA, in the city of Austin, in Texas, working in a company of artificial intelligence, NVIDIA, if some of you have heard of. And he is a microchip power engineer. That's his designation. I don't know exactly what he does. But he is very good in his job. Yes, he has taken that trait of sincerity from me. Look-wise, like mother. Do you have a photograph? No.
Yes, we do actually.
Sure. No, I don't think so. You have a photograph.
Thank you so much.
So I have 2 grandchildren. So we have a happy family. Okay. There he is. And she is my daughter-in-law. She is also a graduate engineer, but then after going to USA, she in her childhood probably wanted to become a doctor, but she lost her father when she was in high school. And so her dream of becoming a doctor could not materialize. And there in USA, she did in Austin, Texas University, degree in hospital administration. So that is how, if not a doctor, at least something to do with hospitals. That is what she is doing. So this is a photograph before they had a child. So my grandchildren are not in this picture. Whoa, hey, from where you have got these photographs? Social media. So she is our granddaughter, Ria. She is now 9 years old, very intelligent, very creative, does ice skating, learning guitar, very good in her studies. So now she's grown up, 9 years. चलो, grandson का है क्या? नहीं. चलो. था तभी. Chalo, okay, I think these are all my visits to USA. That's California. So many of you must have seen this. और क्या है? This is in Switzerland. So I love touring, you know. So I visited a lot of. Now before we end, I must really compliment firstly the Dean and also Swapnil for having thought of such an activity. In fact, that day I was sitting in his chamber and he just said, Saran's interview ge. So I was taken a bit aback. But this group is wonderful. It is a very creative group. And I always believe that you students have a lot of talent. The only thing that your talent hasn't come forward, probably because of the lack of a platform. And now that you have a platform, I think many of you should come forward voluntarily and show what other talents you have. And another thing I would like to tell is that please carry on your extracurricular activities and these fine arts. Some of you may be good singers, artists, painting, writing poems, stories, whatever it may be. You know, this is one of the biggest casualties when you become a doctor, that you stop pursuing your finer aspects of life. And that is what makes doctors very introvert. And at the end, you find that you know nothing except doctory. So that's not a good thing. Indulging in these activities is a very good de-stressing activity, and you should all have some hobby, play some outdoor games, take care of your health, and of course study will go on. So learning, especially medicine, is not over in 4.5 years. It is not even over in decades, you see. As I've said, the more I know, the more I think I know lesser and less. Forget other subjects, even in my own subject. It will take another life if truly I want to say that I am the master of surgery, which I am not. I am master of what I am doing at present in a given situation, but I cannot say that I am master of surgery. So this humility you should have in you, that don't try to act as if you know everything. So some of our young generation doctors act like one. In OPD, I always tell my juniors, my residents, even my lecturers and all, you are still in a learning process. Write down the findings of the patient instead of directly writing the diagnosis like super consultants. Right? So I make them sit in front of me and make them write the clinical findings before they write a diagnosis.
सो सर, आज तुम्ही इथे वेळातला वेळ काढून आलात आणि आमच्या सगळ्यांसोबत एकदम मनमोकळ्यापणाने गप्पा मारल्यात. निश्चितच तुमचं प्रत्येक उत्तर हे आमच्यासाठी एक मार्गदर्शन आहे. आणि त्याचप्रमाणे काही अशाही विषयांवर बोलणं झालं ज्यावर ऑब्वियस वेळ काढून सुद्धा बोलणं झालं नसतं, परंतु असेही विषय आज हाताळले गेलेत. त्यानंतर तुम्ही तुमची जर्नी सांगितली UG स्टुडंट्सची. Then sir, you told the importance of time, how the important the time is, and your journey from Odisha to Nagpur, its migration, how you choose Urdu language instead of Marathi. It shows how flexible, sir, your nature is. Life is for enjoyment, and your definition of enjoyment of life is really a memorizing, sir. Success and failure are a part of life. The most inspiring message we received from you, sir, today. We, the students of Dr. PDMMC, feel very grateful to have you, sir, as a teacher and as a mentor. Sir is not just a surgeon, but a surgeon with a human touch. His dedication, passion is not just towards his patient, but towards the society. And it's truly inspiring for all of us. Also, we are grateful to Dean Sir for being instrumental in bringing Dr. Dasgupta Sir to Dr. PDMMC Medical College. As a token of gratitude, we, the members of Abhivyakti Club, would like to end this wonderful episode of podcast by gifting you a biography of cancer, which is authorized by Siddharth Mukherjee. I would like to request Honorable Dean Sir to do the honors. Thank you so much, Dean Sir.
Students.